I'm always using audience signals. And these are some kind of case studies that I found. And I have always in one ad group, at least one audience.
It's 4 a.m. and we're rolling the dice. Matej drops knowledge made of golden eyes. Felix with ads making those coins rise. Jack up designs, worlds chasing the sky. We're the 2.5 gamers, the midnight crew. Talking UA adverts and game design too. Matej, Felix, Shaka bringing the insight. We're rocking those vibes till the early daylight. Matej, UA, master eyes on the prize. Tracking data through the cyberspace skies. Felix stacks dollars like a wizard in disguise. Jack up's crafted realms lift us to the highs. 2.5 gamers talking smack. Slow hockey stick, got your back. Ads are beautiful, they light the way. Click it fast, don't delay.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is another solo episode. So thank you very much for coming. I know we started doing this a year ago and we keep doing this and we love it and you love it as well. And I like to talk about one important topic. I was talking about it on the podcast in the previous episodes, and it was connected to the MVP UA template for Google. So basically not Google. That's what I'm going to talk about today. I was talking about Meta. So if you want to go and check it out, it's actually pretty valuable. So I decided to do it again, this time for Google. So I'm going to talk about the Google side and I'm going to walk you through the actual Google campaign setup and then some additional stuff, how to set up audiences, what is there, like what are the possibilities and everything. And actually have a presentation because it looks like you love these and we love it as well. So let's see. I'm going to share my screen and then we can go directly into this. All right. So launching Google Ads campaigns. So we're living in the UA space where running only 1-2 channels is not enough. And I've talked about UA on Meta. Now I'm going to talk about Google Ads, and we're definitely going to talk about uploading. We had actually an episode with Alexis about uploading, but we're going to talk about it in the future for sure. So anyway, Google Ads campaign is actually always in my mix. And I use Facebook, Google, TikTok, and Uplovin with my top 4 channels. And then if we talk about the UA diversification, the Moloko, Liftoff, Unity still integral as well. Depends on the game. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about the tracking, measurement, conversion windows, the actual campaign structure, and like how I do optimizations, and then even targeting. Because of course, back in the days where Google was Google AdWords, and you could run campaigns for keywords, Google Display Network, and YouTube, and then came to one amazing black box. There's still opportunities on the audience side that can help you track or target people. Tracking and measurement. This is the bread and butter, honestly. If you don't have the solid tracking setup and measurement, you're fucked. You can't run anything, and you're gonna see different numbers in different dashboards and tools. For UAC, well, Google Ads, UAC was before. For Google Ads, you need to have the Firebase linked because then you can run value-based campaigns, which is called ROAS or target ROAS. Nowadays, you have max ROAS and all the different combinations of campaign optimizations. But if you don't have Firebase linked, no bueno. It's not going to work. Also, bidding on Firebase events versus MMP events usually yields better results because Google loves their own products. So you should use Firebase for tracking app events and conversions, but also set up the connection to your MMP so you can actually cross-check the numbers within all the dashboards. So you go to Firebase, link the Google Ads option, and then you actually need to go to Google Analytics even, and then do the setup there. When you're doing this setup, what's most important is the actual events, connections, and implementation. First open, basically you're bidding on that instead of the app installs, because guess what? Like there can be a lot of fraud on Google side, but you haven't heard it from me. If you do install based bidding, usually like there's like 70% drop off. If you do actually first open, it's already kind of action of like opening the game or app. Then you always go for like kind of engagement events, tutorial completion, any type of early progress, which means anything that happens on day 1, day 2, and it's kind of identifying the users or players that are like better quality because they're actually engaging with the game or app. Then ad impression, absolutely crucial for ad ROAS campaigns. And then obviously purchases with values. So if you don't track values, it means no target ROAS or ROAS campaigns. And then there is this conversion window kind of debate, because by Google by default is 90 days. So if you think about it, 90 days means, and Google says you need 2 or 3 cycles of the window to actually get better or algorithm to learn, which kind of makes it quite long if you use 90 days window. The best practice usually is 7 to 14 days. I was kind of experimenting with different conversion windows as well, and you should do it as well on your end. But if you think about it, like what's happening in the industry now, and AppLovin is pushing for day 28 window, Facebook only has day 7, but also like Google has always had this best practice, which was 14 days. So you can test 7 days, 14 days, 28, whatever, 60 days, 90 days. Different kind of genres can have a different window recommendations and window testing because of kind of how long the LTV improves over time. For hybrid casual, 90 days wouldn't make any sense. For puzzle, 60 days could make sense. Although I still think like that's a little bit extreme. But again, I mean, it's up to you. I've had accounts where I used the default 90 days and it was performing super well. You just need to think about it in this way. If you're putting a target ROAS, it's always tied to the conversion window. So if you're targeting 20% ROAS, it's going to be 20% day 90. That's going to limit your spend and then the quality of the users. Test it. When I'm testing this, be careful, because if you test it in one account, it's going to kind of mess up with the campaigns, with the optimizations and stuff. So usually I try to have day 7 ad account, day 14 ad account, and day 28 ad account, depends on the scale. 14 days by default, and then experimenting with longer or shorter windows. Like I said, shorter window means it's faster feedback loop, because if you have 7-day window, you only need to wait 2 or 3 cycles. Remember, I said it before, 2 or 3 cycles, which means 14 to 21 days. If you have 90 days, how long does it take? Quite a lot. But anyway, it's the whale type of kind of games. Sometimes it's just you need to wait until the cohort matures over time. So, what kind of campaign should I launch, and how should I approach this the structure? You really shouldn't do small campaigns and a large number of them. It doesn't really work like that, and usually I'm trying to do like free campaigns, depends on and I'm going to show it how I'm thinking about it. But even here on Google, it actually makes sense to do geo-specific campaigns, but still needs to be a valid daily budget, so you can get enough daily events for the optimization, which should be like 10, 15 daily net new purchases. And what I'm trying to say is less campaigns, higher budgets for more learnings. So this is how I try to look at it. Usually it's, again, like I said, 3 campaigns. So it's US, obviously, and then tier 1 and rest of the world. Tier 1 depends on your kind of LTV brackets and values. I'm going for like the main European ones, plus Korea and Japan, usually, and then rest of the world. So the thing is, I mean, this is what I start with, and it's always doing quite well. And after some time, I try to operate with the countries and in the tiers. So basically, you're looking at the countries after 7 to 14 days, and then you're moving the countries back to the rest of the world, or just from the rest of the world promoting the best performing countries to the tier 1. On iOS, I'm trying to maximizing the signals with tier 1 and US into one campaign. It's usually like 250 per day. and sticking to cost per action, or TCPA, which is the purchase campaign. And then after like all the shenanigans with iOS measurement are done, then I'm kind of focusing on the value and the ROAS campaigns on iOS. So just big disclaimer, iOS, before the IDFA shenanigans happened, those campaigns were like the best campaigns ever for iOS. Nowadays, it's not the case anymore. No wonder why. And here we're going to, I don't want to say technical, but it's interesting thing how to target users, and it's very important to set this up, because in this case, I'm not sure if people are using this too often, but it's actually going from broad and targeting everybody on the whole fucking world to just use targeting, and it can be keywords, but it can be also all the competitor games with the bundle IDs, and I'm going to show you how to do it, and demographic filters just to define the audience, but also audiences from Firebase, and even if you have your own different games, it can be very useful, and also lookalikes from this, and it's just pay your audience. Again, another layer of targeting, because it was always about, oh well, it's broad, you can't do anything else, but you can actually. And it makes a lot of sense because it's something that really performs well. And I'm always using audience signals. And these are some kind of case studies that I found. And I have always in one ad group, at least one audience signal. Okay, so there's always this kind of saying that you need to start with CPI campaigns and then move to DCPA, which is the purchase campaigns, then to ROAS. I mean, you definitely need data. I usually use the purchase or any engagement event from the start after I get some data in, which can be 2 weeks of data. If you're getting enough purchases per day or events per day, it can be even 7 days. But I just want to I want to say warm up the account, but I don't want to start with target ROAS right away, because like it's just going to be shooting everywhere without any data. So just get the data in with purchase campaigns or the engagement campaigns, and then afterwards just go for TROAS, because TROAS, well, target ROAS or max ROAS. Now there's the option, which is just giving it to the algorithms. There is no target basically, which I don't really like to do, but there's the option. And if we're talking about the creative side, I use usually on Google side, well, 30 plus videos, 30 second plus videos, ideally 60. I mostly do 16 to 9 and 9 to 16. I have a square format here. If I don't add it into the campaign, nothing really major happens. So, well, for Facebook, it's a different story, because the square format is preliminary happening on the feed. Here, I mean, it happens on the GDN, but the Google Display Network, but still 16 to 9 and 9 to 16 are mainly for YouTube. Honestly, I rarely use static images, and if you can ask me why, but it's my usual experience. It sucks, and it's bringing terrible quality users because it's showing on the Google Display Network. And honestly, I mean, you have 10 different games, 10 different experiences, but this has been my experience for a long time and multiple times. Anyway, so if you run Google campaigns, there are two schools of thoughts. Like, one is basically running only one ad group and refreshing creatives within this one ad group. I'm the other guy who is running multiple ad groups at the same time, usually 3 to 5, and organizing creatives or ad groups by creatives. So I have, let's say, mass battle video. I have 10 different variations. Ad group is called mass battles. And I put all the mass battles inside this. If I have a new mass battle videos, then I create another ad group, which is called mass battles hooks something. And then I have a gameplay. Then it's another gameplay and another ad group. So how should you think about it? Kind of free ad groups on the 500 budget. So let's say if I have 1,000 per day, I can use 5 ad groups. If I have 5,000 a day, I can use 10 ad groups. Most probably what's going to happen is your budget's going to go into free ad groups with high budget, but still more ad groups, more signals for the campaigns. And that's my approach. But also there is the other one, which I mentioned a couple of seconds ago or minutes ago. You can refresh creatives within one other group. If you have all these set up, I call this the hamburger strategy, because I'm usually doing different things, right? I'm increasing the budget. Then I refresh creatives after, let's say, 2 or 3 days. Then again, increase the budget. Then increase the bid. Then increase the budget. So usually doing different things during the week, not everything at once. And also keep few days between the changes. If you do a change every 3 fucking days, it's gonna ruin the campaign. I know if it doesn't really look great, but the Google works in this way. You launch a campaign, 3 days, you can forget about it right away, because nothing is gonna change that much. After 3 days, the CPI is gonna decrease. You start to see like stable performance, and then after another 3 or 5 days, you can start thinking about what to do next. Because again, like if you start making changes in the first 3 days, you will get nowhere. That's my observation, and it's usually like this. So don't touch it in the first 3 days. Then go for another 3 days. If it looks okay, if it doesn't look okay, then you need to act quickly. But if it looks decent, then don't change that much. Okay, so this is kind of what I was trying to say, and now I'm gonna show you the Google campaign dashboard. Let's just start with audiences that I mentioned. Let's just pick a random campaign here. We need to go to the ad group, and then we go to audiences, and then I already created an audience here, which is a 2.5 gamers audience, but let's just remove it from here. Let's edit audience. We can let's create a new one, because it's an audience, gamers testing audience again. So we can do different custom segments, because I already created the merge games. But let's just we can do our own data. We can do website visitors, app users of different apps that we have, not only apps, but also purchasers. And then we can do combined apps visitors and the purchases for everything. We can do like a lot of different things in the audience manager, and then again, gender, different age groups. But for our purposes, let's do a custom segment, which is a new segment. Same, it's not going to be, it can be casual games, because I have a casual game, and instead of the interest or purchase intentions, I could obviously do that, but I want to use this audience, people who use types of apps, because now I can do like a bundle ID. So let's say Royal Kingdom. Okay, here's the Royal Kingdom. Then we can do Travel Town. Yes, we can do Flambe, because it's a new game as well. There's Gossip Harbor. And then, so you get it, right? So then we can do Gardenscapes as well. There you go. So you can kind of put a lot of different games here. I would do like 10 and then save it, and then that's all we need. So that's safe. Perfect. So how should you think about this? Again, I was talking about 3 different ad groups. It's basically, you can do one broad campaign, one broad ad group, then with gameplay video. Then you do a casual games ad group with the gameplay video. It's casual audience. And then you can do another ad group with payer audience from Firebase. So you can do like 3 different types. Again, suddenly out of one, you have 3, and you can still using the same creative. So this is how I think about it, basically around the audiences and then like the structure of the campaign. And then based on the numbers, I'm adding new competitors, different interests, because you can then do casual gamers, hardcore gamers, all the different gamers in the audience section. So that's pretty much it. I think if you have any questions, please let me know. And I guess I see you next time. Cheers. Thank you very much. Join the Slack channel. Bye-bye.